Welcome to Cooking with Heart Cancer Class 2. So you survived 1 week. So just 3 more to go. So, there we go. So, Julie, yay, you're in. So today we're going to be talking about color and rainbow, and it's more than just feel good, kind of look good. So it has a lot more importance there that we're going to unveil. Next week, we're going to go into inflammation. Inflammation, you hear that word tossed around, but you know what? The doctor never likes as a diagnosis. Ooh, inflammation. Or we don't have like a walk for, okay, let's raise money for inflammation, anti-inflammation. So I want to unravel what it really means, because it's tossed around and I was confused. I mean, it's connected to like everything that we're trying to improve. So, and then meal planning. We'll talk about meal planning next week too. So important topics, and we're going to do a stir fry. So I'm going to give you a lot of kind of just, there's a lot you can do with stir fry. So you don't have to follow the recipe exactly, but I want to give you confidence in stir fry and then give you 2 options for sauces. And then we're going to do a different recipe than the smoky kale. I love the smoky kale. I love smoked paprika, my favorite spice. However, I want to try another one that might be a little easier, a little more acceptable. It's, I call it monkey, what do I call it? Monkey something, cauliflower? Okay, so you know about monkey bread, okay? Everybody know about monkey bread with all, yeah. I have the Christmas morning is when I'm allowed to have it, the kids know. So, but this is a take on that, you'll see that. I have been known to eat a whole batch of this, okay? Sit down and just enjoy it. So there's no guilt with eating the whole batch, okay? So I wanted to share a tip that somebody from a previous class, this same Cooking with Heart for Cancer, shared about the green tea. So green tea is awesome for you. It also can be a little on the grassy side, especially if you've got what we call higher taste buds. So you're really tasting that. So she uses ginger. The peppery in the ginger really helps take the edge off the grassiness. And you can just take like fresh ginger, or you can add powdered, but she takes like just like a thumb piece of the ginger, peels it. You can peel with a spoon. I think we'll do that next week. But you just drop a little knob in your tea, cold or hot, whatever you're doing. That helps take some off. Also, another trick is, and we're going to talk about this in the last class, is lemon. Lemon adding to the green tea actually has a lot of power to it, but it also helps the flavor. If you're really picking up that grassiness and you're like, I don't know if I could do this every day, 2 cups. So those are some tips that people have shared there. So I want to give the stage to, let's see. I've got a message here I'm just trying to figure out. So I want to give the stage to Kelly. I'm going to spotlight you, Kelly, there so that you can be seen by everybody here. So Kelly's from Gilda's Club, and she has some great information to share. So you're on the spot.
Awesome. Well, first off, thanks for having me. Teresa, how many people do you have there in person?
Like 10. I'm doing a quick count.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited to share a little bit of info. My name is Kelly Kraft. I'm a program manager, social worker at Gilda's Club. And I'm going to give you a little info on what we do in general, and then I'll highlight a program too. So Gilda's Club is a cancer support community, and we provide social and emotional support at no cost to anyone impacted by cancer. So that's a person with an active diagnosis now, that's survivors, that's friends and family, that's kids and teens with their own diagnosis or impacted by the diagnosis of a loved one. And we provide that support with all sorts of programs. We have support groups for each of the different populations that we serve. We have educational workshops, healthy lifestyle activities like yoga and meditation, social events, and then we're also a hub for resources and referrals. And we now have 2 clubhouses, which is exciting. One in Unity Point Trinity Moline Hospital, and then one inside Genesis West over in Davenport as well. And then we also provide lots of virtual and hybrid programs, so people can join us in person at our clubhouses, or can also join us via Zoom and still feel like they're in the room with us. And then I also kind of want to tell you about a fun program that we have coming up. Every year we have our Noogie Fest, which is our annual family Halloween party. Noogie Fest is a free event and it's open to anyone in the community, whether or not someone is impacted by cancer. So literally anybody can attend it. We just want to really provide a safe and fun Halloween experience and also get the word out about what we do and get people to our space. So we'll have a trunk or treat, we'll have food, door prizes, entertainment, and other kind of fun things going on. And that event is Saturday, October 14th, 3 to 5 p.m. at our Davenport Clubhouse. And costumes are encouraged. Again, it's free and open to the community. So reach out if you have any questions about anything that we do. Gilda's Club QC is our website and the best place to find info.
Awesome. Kelly, thank you. So Gilda's Club has so many resources. It has awesome staff and the place is amazing. Like if either both the Trinity location and the Genesis locations, I mean, like you just want to stay there all day. Like they're really just chill, hang out. The vibe is just so relaxing and uplifting. So if you haven't checked out either of those spaces, please do. They encourage it. Drop by.
Absolutely.
So yes, and that way you can get to know because they almost have so many resources. It's hard to even like put your head around. So they have all these amazing classes going on and support services. So thank you, Kelly.
Yep, thanks for having me.
I am going to, let's see. There we go. Stop spotlighting. There we go. Okay. Did it. Yay. Okay. We're back. So I also want to say Gilda's Club is a sponsor of the Cooking with Heart Cancer. We couldn't do it without them and also the Trinity Foundation. So my salary and the ingredients and all this is covered by foundation. So a big thank you to them. It's their commitment. They see this as a valuable way of raising the health of the community. Okay, so I kind of touched on this last week. One of the most powerful things in the foods we eat that is lesser known is phytochemicals. So they bring lots of gifts. And so I really want to start opening your eyes tonight or today, it's not quite nighttime yet, about that. So before we dig into that, I want to hear from you and I want you to share either like a spice that you tried out or you did more of in a different new way, or how you started with your plant as on your plate, started eating with that first, or you added another plant to your eating, or you started looking at labels. So, anything that you tried out, learned, an observation, and even if it didn't go as planned, that's a success because you're learning. So I'm going to stop and I want to go ahead and send in the chat, those guys at home, you guys joining us, just share with me what you tried out, or you can take yourself off mute and share with us here. We hear really well. And those here, share, go ahead.
I started out with vegetables and instead of my protein, and it's really helpful. It tastes. When you mix with the protein, sometimes you lose something. So just like this monkey cauliflower, I just made the rainbow vegetables and ate the whole thing.
Yes, awesome. So Helen, did you guys hear that at home? Helen was sharing about how she started to eat the vegetable first, normally the protein, and she just found amazing gifts from it. The taste, just how she felt, how she experienced the meal, and just saw it completely differently when she just started. That's all she did, started with the vegetable. So thank you, Helen, for sharing. That's awesome. Other sharing, Sandy.
Well, when I went to Fairway, I bought some spray olive oil, which I've never bought before, but switching from the regular pan, and brown rice, because we tried it here last week, and it was actually really good. I had no idea brown rice tasted decent.
Wow, decent brown rice. Okay.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes. Awesome. Great. Those are lots of wonderful things. So others, Marianne.
I did the cinnamon in my coffee. I had to experiment because the first time you could tell I had a lot of cinnamon.
Oh, dum. Okay. Yes.
The second day, a little higher sprinkle.
Yes.
One thing I used to do that I got away from and then I yesterday. I thought, why did you do that? I used to get my vegetables and chop them up and put them each in individual containers so that when you were hungry, they were ready to grab them. And I sort of fell off that wagon. And so yesterday I'm like, well, you used to do that. So then I could get that out and eat it, especially if I'm cooking and I'm starving.
Yes. Okay, great. So Marianne added cinnamon to her coffee. She did have to figure out kind of the amount. She went a little overboard the first time. And then she's also used to do this, but somehow got away, chopping up vegetables and having them prepped so she can snack on them when she's hungry and that kind of thing. So awesome. Other sharings. It could, anything that you have observed. There we go. Yes.
We went to the grocery store and actually into the frozen aisle, looked at vegetables, which I would have never in a million years thought that was a good thing.
Yes.
So, still reading labels and trying to understand things.
Yes.
What I noticed is different stores offer different frozen things.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is kind of mind-boggling, but it's a fact.
Okay. Awesome. Is it Tara?
Yes.
Tara shared she went into the frozen food section first thing in the grocery store. That is a big thing. Where you go in first is a big deal in the grocery store. It really is.
Well, actually,
And frozen.
We did produce.
Produce and
And
frozen.
then over to frozen.
And yeah, it's amazing what you can get frozen nowadays. You can get frozen brown rice. It's not every store has it ready made with nothing added. So, I mean, that's just a quick, easy way for some people. It's, you can start there, transition, and then work your way to making it yourself. It's just cost cutting if you make it yourself. So, but there's butternut squash. There's, all kinds of different things. There's avocado frozen in cubes. So not every store carries these, but just, check it. That's awesome. Start getting the ideas going. So let me see. Did anybody send? I don't see anything here. Let's see. So don't be afraid to share there. We'd love to hear from you guys at home. So I'm going to see here if we have somebody. I heard some noise. So I think that's my little ding that I have somebody here. Awesome. Welcome those people who have joined us. So anything else? It's really important that you share anything. And I want to emphasize, yes, Sandy.
Well, I want to know, has anybody ever tried, and I saw this at Target, there are those little cubes of like ginger, they're frozen, and they're little cubes of garlic. And I'm just wondering, are they any good?
They are.
Okay, so they're frozen.
Okay, Judy, you've used them?
Those, and there's also squeeze tubes. of
Okay.
ginger, and I think even all these has.
And how is it?
Good.
Okay, so, hey, perfect. So Sandy was asking for feedback from everybody about the frozen at Target cubes of ginger and different spices, and then the tubes. And Judy here has used them and said they're great. Always check the ingredient list to make sure and see if there's anything added. So sometimes they're going to add salt, sometimes not. Sometimes that is a great way to go. So I love that. I didn't even know they had that Target. So here we go. So this is about everybody learning. We're always learning from one another. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, and I want to emphasize here, no comparison. Everybody, we share, we learn together. So, but we all are on our own journey and we're doing fantastic. You're here. That's the important thing. You're going to take a baby step and it may not go the way you planned, but it's still a learning. So self-compassion all the way, guys. So there's gifts in everything and you got to be open to it. So please, no comparing to others. You're here, you're doing this. Awesome. So I want you to focus on that. Last time we talked about the home style, the beans and rice wraps, and chili powder. I don't think I had a chance to say chili powder, make sure you get no salt, that you don't get the tones of the McCormick because they add salt in some of those, because chili powder is really a combination of different spices. So they add salt in the McCormick and the tones. Also, when I make recipes, I make them what I call universally accepted. So for most people, they're going to be a good starting point. They may not be like yummy delicious. So I want you to go ahead and think about how can you make it better. So adding more spices is a good way to go. A lot of people, that's the number one mistake people make when they start taking down the salt and out some of the ingredients, they forget to add more and more spices. So you can like mushrooms, if you want to add mushrooms to the one last week, you can add mushrooms, but you're going to want to increase the spices too. And I know we had a conversation about maybe somebody in the household, they're not going to be on with just as it's made, the home style rice and beans with no kind of meat source in there. Hey, it's a transition. It's a spectrum. We start off where we are and we start taking steps. And we see how that goes. Jumping all the way isn't going to work for most people, and most households. So just start transitioning, adding a little bit, half, beef or turkey, ground turkey. That's a step. You've got all the walnuts and the pinto beans and all the other spices that are going to really boost up the health of that dish. So, don't be afraid to transition. Find your way of transitioning. Okay. Let's hop over to, I see we have something in the chat. Let's hear. So from somebody from our at-home audience. Okay, adding cinnamon, Kelly, eating more veggies, starting with veggies at mealtime, less sugar too. Awesome. Those are really tough ones. Make sure baby steps, guys, baby steps. So I tripled the vegetables, increased the number of vegetables that I usually add to a pasta dish I made. It was awesome and my husband loved it. Wow, who would have thought? More vegetables and awesome. Whoa. So just open mind. I love that you guys are. Julie, let's see. I want to make sure I got everybody's intake. Yeah, you got triple. I think yep. Okay, got it. So let's hop over. I'm going to hop over to my PowerPoint here and talk about the phytochemicals a little more in depth. So we're going to start here. Now, when we talk about the rainbow, eating the rainbow, you might think of, Skittles, M&Ms, and you might think, we like to eat the rainbow because the sugar, the dopamine hit, and that could be, but I really think it's the color. They don't make Skittles all brown colored. They make them pop with color. They're not dull colors either. So that's intentional. Now, they didn't invent this, Mother Nature did. So we need to give her full credit there. So now phytochemicals, when we talk about phytochemicals, those are naturally occurring chemicals, compounds, bioactive compounds. There's nothing scary about that word, chemicals, that are produced in the plant as a way of defending against some of the many things they have to overcome for growth. So predators, pathogens, irradiation, competitors. So phytochemicals are basically a defense system of plants so that they can continue to grow through rainstorms, pollution, radiation of the sun, all these things, even deer nibbling, ants nibbling, that kind of stuff. Because, a rainstorm comes and they get beat down, but 2 days later, they're blossoming and they're bigger and they learn how to come back from these things. So it's amazing. It's because they have the antioxidants that help quell the free radicals. And we'll learn more about this next week. So right now we're doing a lot of research into these phytochemicals. This is something probably since you learned about the 5 food groups in high school that we are discovered since then. Even since I was in college, this is all new. So they've discovered about 40 or 20,000. They think they're going to be closer to 40 to 50,000 when they're done. We only know really well a couple hundred of these. And, the research on them, like we discussed last week, I don't mean to be a buzzkill, but, it's really hard to research these amazing things in whole plants because there's not the kind of payout for companies to invest in them. So we're not going to see, red cabbage. We're not going to see a lot of research on that. So that's going to give us conclusively that it's going to really help with fighting cancer and heart disease. Okay. So they're finding things. Yes, we're developing a new science, so to speak, but just know it's going to be slow and going. But we know that there's no downside to eating. And we see a lot of benefit, what we call benefit from eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, those kind of things. So we have conclusive, consistent, over and over evidence for eating these things in whole food form. Okay. We have harmful studies showing harm from things like processed meat, sugar sweetened processed foods from ultra processed. We have harm evidence. We do not have consistent harm evidence at all from eating whole fruits, vegetables, spices. Again, whole. I don't mean like isolating something. Okay, we'll talk more about that. But really know there's so much just in naturally eating. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things you can do when you're eating the whole foods to even up what you're getting from them. So, okay. So here's a grouping on the screen. You don't need to memorize this, but I want you to see, I'll give you a moment to kind of look for some of the names if you've been reading in the literature about things like polyphenols, flavonols, those are common things, sulfurophils, indoles, you'll see those on there. And it's really confusing to me, the whole classification. I get mind boggled every time I try and follow a phytochemical and how it goes. And that's because we're just uncovering new and more, and we're trying to figure out how to classify them. So what I want to do is kind of break down by color what are some of the benefits from these phytochemicals, because we can kind of group them by color. Now, I say kind of because Mother Nature didn't create fruits and vegetables saying, let me make this into 7 groupings that fall really nicely. It's just for our kind of bringing meaning and trying to digest it, we do this. So, okay. So, here's role, and just looking at antioxidants and the role in cancer only, just looking at cancer, look at all these roles at antioxidants. And antioxidants just one piece, small piece of what we get in the phytochemicals. There's over 50 antioxidants, guys. So it's not just about getting an antioxidant, it's about getting a variety of antioxidants. So all of them do different things. So these are actions to stop, halt, trip up, slow down cancer. So to start kind of digesting what I'm saying, thinking of 2 colors it's really helpful to think of 2 colors in a meal. So a multicolored meal is one way to go. And look at skins, because the skins, in many cases, there's like a couple exceptions, but most of the time, the skins actually have 70 to 80% of the phytochemicals in them. Because what's most exposed to the pest, the viruses, the irradiation, it's the skin. So you want to make sure you're getting the skin as much as possible, or at least close to the skin, that layer in there. So sometimes smaller, like when we talk about blueberries, it's slightly better, definitely, to get the small wild blueberries than the big plump ones, because you get more skin. So you're going to get more of the phytochemical beneficial components in there. So, okay. Oh, let me go back because I want to talk about the red. So red and pink are rich in this carotenoid. There's like 6, 7 carotenoids total, but one primary one we talk about is carotenoids, is lycopenes. And we see that in the red and the pink there. Anthocyanins are in there, and anthocyanins are great antioxidants. They put out the fires of gene damaging free radicals. We know that it's very positive for prostate cancer fighting, heart and lung disease. And a lot of them are powerful in their vitamin C. So we're talking, of course, strawberries, raspberries, tomatoes, red grapes, red peppers, red onions. Now, tomatoes have lycopene that's best cooked with a little bit of oil, just a teeny bit of oil. We get better absorption with them. So we'll talk more at the end, kind of how to eat some of these. So when we talk yellow orange, we're talking beta-cryptoxanthin. This is a provitamin A. Again, it's a carotenoid. So those are very powerful. It helps in intracellular communication. It's another powerful antioxidant doing completely different things. It helps the body convert to vitamin A. And so we're talking carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, mango, corn. So a lot of these are slightly higher in sugar. So sometimes we recommend doing them in a meal rather than a snack. it's natural, so I don't want to freak anybody out. I'm not trying to say you don't eat them, but I'm just saying it really kind of works really well in a meal. Now the deep orange, like the carrots, are cooked best or steamed because they release things and actually a little oil too. So we'll talk more about that. Now the water soluble ones, like the orange and mango, are best raw. Corn has lutein in it, and so cooked is also good for the corn. Okay, so green is really got a lot of secrets. It's got sulforaphane, which is cancer blocking. We get isocyanols and indoles from there, and we'll talk more about that in the last class. But just know green is a lot of things like broccoli and kale, Brussels sprouts, where we get the sulforaphanes from. We get powerful antioxidants, vitamin K, C, and E. And a surprising fact is your deep green ones here give you triple gifts. They're actually 3 colors in one, and they're so intense in the colors that you get more of the orange yellow in the dark green than you do separately. So these are going to be things like spinach, Swiss chard, kale, turnip greens, colliard, dandelion greens, and peas. Dark green, you're going to get the yellow that comes from the lutein, like we find in corn, but it's in the dark green. And you get this, it begins with a Z, zeaxanthin, it's an orange yellow. And again, you get larger quantities in a deep green. And then you get light green, which is known for chlorophyll in the dark green. And the chlorophyll is known for like helping filter pollution and toxins and things like that. So, so those are the dark green, and then the other green that again have the chlorophyll: kiwi, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, avocado, green tea, green herbs, asparagus, artichokes, alfalfa sprouts, and there's a lot of good anti-inflammatory here. So, just to give you a feel, an avocado has 9 grams of fiber, about 700 milligrams of potassium. Potassium is great for lowering your blood pressure, amongst other things. They did a study where they had subjects eat a hamburger and fries and milkshake, okay? And they measured some inflammation markers and their triglycerides. And then they had them on another day, the subjects eat a hamburger plus half an avocado, fries, and milkshake. And they found the inflammation markers did not rise. And the triglycerides did not rise a couple hours after. Now, my point isn't to eat French fries and hamburger and milkshake with avocado. My point is these things in combination do amazing stuff. And just adding avocado, if you love avocado, eat it, okay? You don't need to eat a whole one, but here and there a little bit. And using our trick, I shared the trick, didn't I, that somebody shared in another class for the avocado last week. So for keeping the avocado, you can cut up onion. You just need to expose the sulfur in the onion and put it in a airtight container with a lid. And you don't even have to put the avocado down, like smashing in the onion. You just need an airtight container with some chopped up onion. And you can get 3-4 days. I've done 5 days and I still ate it, but you can easily get 2 to 4 days for an avocado that you didn't eat. So, okay. So the hardest to get color is the purple, blue, because we just don't have in kind of our universally available fruits and vegetables. The big one there is blueberries. So I have blueberries every day on my oatmeal. I rotate between the wild and the regular just price. I go, today, okay, last time I had now I'm going to rotate. So, but the wild are smaller, and they're not grown like literally in the wild, like, you know, somebody's out there picking, like, oh, there's another blueberry, okay, not quite like that, but they are grown under different conditions so that they get a little more of these defense fighting in them, and they're small. So those are the advantages of it. Now, they are not like organic. I've never seen wild organic. So, you know, organic, you can make your choice there to go that direction too. So, okay. And the last category is white, tan, or brown. So this is going to be a lot of our allicin that we find in onions, And we find quercetin and kaempferol in cauliflower leeks. Mushrooms are super packed. We're going to talk more about mushrooms next week. So, this is another group to think about, even though they're not known to be colorful. Okay, so you're probably wondering, do I do it cooked or raw? So, well, carotenoids, they're the carrots, tomatoes, and corn. Heated with a little bit of oil is usually the best because we got the vitamins, that what we call the fat soluble vitamins in there, so it's better absorption. So again, you can have raw carrots, but I'm just saying, yeah, it releases some things and we tend to absorb a little better. Slightly cooked are the spinach, mushrooms, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, steamed, something like that, blanched. So not high heat, short periods. Again, it's okay to roast them. So I love roasting. We're going to do roasting today. The cruciferous, raw, and steamed is a good combination, but roasting, it releases some things that you don't get when you eat them raw. And if you love eating them roasted like I do, that's the best thing. You got to eat them for them to have the benefit. So, things like carrots, tomatoes, mushrooms, spinach, red peppers, kale, cabbage, they all release things when they're cooked. So, get a variety of colors and get a variety of cooking methods. So find things that you love. So I don't get too carried away with the cooking method and making sure, I never have raw carrots. Hey, find things. But if you want to start looking for ways to cook carrots, do, because there's a lot of advantage in cooking them. So looking at, this is how we want to eat more plants. 3/4 of what we eat to be from plants. We've got half vegetables and fruits. So that's one message, half vegetables and fruits. And then we add the whole grains, intact grains. That's going to get us to 3/4 plants. So only 1/4 should be if you eat animal products. I'm not going to eliminate them, okay? But we want to make sure they're quality so that they're giving you stuff instead of harming. So what is one takeaway from today so far? Just take a moment to kind of regurgitate what we've talked about. And what is one takeaway? Take a moment to write it on your sticky note. We have them at the check-in, kind of the roster sign-in if you didn't get there. For those at home, if you can send me in the comments just to help us remember, because I cover quite a bit. So what kind of surface is there so that we can all benefit? And then action steps, just even look at your shopping cart. When you're getting ready to check out, do you see a variety of colors, or at least once you leave the produce section? Like we talked before, you go into the produce section first. That can make a big difference because you spend your time there and you're looking at things. Try out recipe and, make it something that you love. Purchase a vegetable, fruit, and a color that you're not eating as much as the others. What would be something? Plan one meal looking at, having at least 2 colors from the rainbow. Okay, so let's hop back and get cooking here and let me see what we got. If we got anybody from the virtual class there, let's see. We've got people. Okay, so feel free to send from home anything that comes to mind as a takeaway. So I will collect those in just a moment. So I want to get started with the anytime broccoli. So today, the reason why I'm doing the anytime broccoli, let me switch. Let's cross our fingers this works today. Switch my camera here to the room camera. And then back here, I'm going to switch this. And do you see here on the screen? Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Denisha, are you going to pick up those? Thank you so much. I've got the board there. Awesome. So, okay. So we're in business here. So we're going to make broccoli. So the reason why I have this recipe, you can make broccoli, roasted broccoli from raw broccoli, and I'll tell you how to do that. It's very similar. But the idea is have some broccoli florets frozen on hand so that anytime you're like, shoot, I don't have time to run to the store and I really want, to make sure I'm getting the veggies and, oh, I'd love some roasted broccoli right now. Well, frozen can work. The couple of pointers, you want to make sure it's the florets. So the florets, you don't want to just get broccoli frozen because you're going to get some of the stem in there, and that's harder to roast. So here I have about half of what I call a recipe. 6 cups is what I usually do for one recipe. So I've already made some for those of us here. So, but you can see we have, and I find different brands have different kind of sizing of the broccoli. You want good size, these are good sizes, I'd say, because these are ones that you pick up and pop in your mouth. Whereas these here, if you've got all broccoli florets like this, that's going to be hard to deal with. So I did find one time in one class, I was like, holy moly, I got teeny tiny little ones. So just if you can see a brand that you get, this was the Hy-Vee brand is what this was. And it was a 3-pounder. Yes.
Costco has really good broccoli.
Okay. Judy said Costco has really good broccoli florets. Good to know. So yes.
They come in, it's a big bag, but they come in little bags.
Ooh, yeah, like more manageable. Okay, she said there's a big bag, but it has little bags inside it so that you can just take out a little bit. Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil. I say like 1 teaspoon. The idea is you don't want to go okay. Olive oil, I'm all about olive oil. You want to be intentional where you use it. It's just that it's very concentrated calorically, but it's super anti-inflammatory. It actually can raise your LDL. So, lower your LDL, sorry, wrong way. Lower your LDL. So, and it's anti-inflammatory. So, but you got to make sure you get the extra virgin olive oil. So I'm just going to put a little in there. This is what I do with florets that are raw. I will usually do 6 to 7 cups and just put 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of olive oil and just toss it. I know technically it's not going to get everywhere, but we're going to spread it out a little bit here. So, and then I'm going to take, I use parchment. And when I started these classes a couple years ago, aluminum foil, and then I looked at it. We don't know for sure. Again, these things are hard to track exactly, but we do think some of the aluminum might be coming off, especially for sure anything tomato, acid, or protein. Do not use aluminum foil directly at high heat with those. So I just kind of use parchment paper. If you ever have to do something, you're like, shoot, parchment doesn't wrap like aluminum foil does. So what I'll do is I'll wrap it in parchment and then wrap aluminum over it. So if I don't want it next to it, like if I'm roasting like a bulb of garlic or something like that, I'll put the parchment around it and then the aluminum foil so I can get that tight wrapping around it. So I'm using parchment and I'm just going to put some of this on here and show you. The secret to roasting is you take out the little stuff that really is going to get burnt. So, and now when we do frozen, what happens is we end up with some of these huge honking pieces. So like this. And so how I get around that and still make this work is I will just 15 minutes, 425 high heat. Then I will take it out and I will chop in half this, half that, maybe this because it's standing high. Okay, because the idea is I want to spread out about a 1/2 inch. You don't need to get the ruler out, but 1/2 inch because we need to get that moisture out of it quickly. And if we're bunched up like this, guess what? We've got this big soggy mess that's going to take forever to get the heat, kind of the water evaporated out of it so it can go into caramelization and go into roasting. So the first step, 330 degrees is where caramelization starts. I do high heat because I want to go beyond caramelization. Broccoli doesn't have a lot of glucose or sugar or whatever you want to call it in it naturally. Carrots, red pepper have more. Broccoli and Brussels sprouts tend to have less. So we want to go through the caramelization quicker. So you want to use higher heat with those for sure. So that's why 400, 425 typically I'm going to use with broccoli and Brussels sprouts, because you want to go through the caramelization and go to what we say creating aromatic compounds. And that's another word for savory. They're things that have complexity to them. That's the brown bits that you want to form on the Brussels sprouts and on the broccoli. And the idea is we want every piece to have brown on it, dark brown, because then that's going to give the flavor that we want. It's going to be delicious. So spreading them out, you're going to have better luck with that. Now at 15 minutes, you're going to see that, there's still some moisture. That's why you need to put it back in for 15 minutes. For today, for the ones that I did top rack 15 minutes, took them out, about 3 on each half pan. I cut in half, put them back on, and then put it back in 15 minutes. And it came out, I'll show you in a second, but I thought it came out pretty darn good. So for toppings, mustard is a great, you're going to find out more in the last class, the secrets behind mustard. But even if you don't taste it, use it, okay? So it's good to use. I'm using just about a 1/4 teaspoon there. Another one that you might want trying out is nutritional yeast. I'm not going to use this today, but I want you to see it looks like goldfish food. So nutritional yeast is just packed with a lot of things. Sometimes it's fortified with vitamins B12. This one isn't, but if you're vegetarian or vegan, B12 is something to kind of watch for. You probably need to get some extra some way. But this has 7 grams of fiber and 2 tablespoons. You heard that right, naturally. 7 grams of fiber and only 30 milligrams of sodium, okay? 518 milligrams of potassium, okay? Potassium is fantastic for blood pressure and other things. So really easy way, just adding that. I add that to my popcorn. So there's a lot of different things. You can add a little salt. I usually will, that came out, my holes are better at home. So just a little dash. Most people do like the flavor of salt. It's okay, it's not evil. So just a little dash of that. So, and then put it in the oven 15 minutes, take it out, chop these big ones down, separate them out a little bit, put it back in 15 minutes, bring it out, and you're probably going to eat it right off the pan. So let me show you here. Now they're going to shrink down. So, but notice, do you see brown? Can you see enough that you can see brown on pretty much every one there? So that's what you want, okay? So, which reminds me, can somebody tell me in 5 minutes, I want to put it back in there so these are warm for you guys. So somebody can set, who's going to be my timer? Sandy's going to be my timer at 5 minutes because I want to reheat those. And that's one thing. Roasted broccoli, you can use and make it. If you set it in the refrigerator, you can use it 2-3 days. It will suck up moisture. So you got to then kind of roast it just a few minutes. On Friday, usually Friday or Saturday in our household is pizza night. I know you're like, what? Okay, I have kids, and so pizza is a language they speak. So, but we make it, and so I don't make it from scratch. Okay, I wish, but I use just a Boboli kind of thin crust. Sometimes we do French bread. I know those are memories from growing up. But I always make sure what I do is I put out, and I made it roasted broccoli, and I put that on mine. I put spinach. I put scallions. I put olives. I put just a few dots of fresh mozzarella, and then I cooked it. The other half was pepperoni and cheese for the kids. So that's what they want. That's okay. But my half was mine, totally green, just blasted with green. Took it out, and then I sliced mine and put some slices of avocado on there. It was delicious. So just saying, there's all kinds of uses, and if you have an air fryers can roast in like 10 minutes at like 400 degrees broccoli. So now the problem with air fryers that I find, and let me know if you found a way around this, is they're not even heating as well. So I do find if I want to get brown on every single one, the oven's the best way to go. So if you're picky about that, but if you're like, I'm just adding this to my bowl or my pizza or whatever, just throw it in 10 minutes at 400. I'm telling you, it's going to come pretty close. Same thing, just kind of toss it with, sometimes what I'll do for roasting too is I'll just take the olive oil and just go like this on my hands and go like this, and then I'll start to work it through, whatever, just to get a little bit. So I do onions, I do roasted pepper, carrots, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts I won't touch unless they're roasted. I have bad memories from growing up of Brussels sprouts. Sorry, Mom. So, and they just taste wildly different when they're roasted versus raw. So, okay. So Now let's do the wraps. So the wraps are beautiful. So we're going to use our rainbow concept. And I want you to know you don't have to use all these colors. Just I'm showing you some possibilities, and I'm showing you things that are easy peasy to do. So let me see. First, I want to start with the cabbage. So we can do the green or the red cabbage, and we're going to use cabbage in the last class to make a coleslaw, and I'm going to use both. But no, this is super high in antioxidants. Now, anti-inflammatory, the green is higher. Okay, a lot of people don't know that, but I usually do go for red. It's just so magnificent in antioxidants. So, and we have, you know, it's one of those colors we don't get enough of. So, okay, for chopping this, I did take off a couple layers. Sometimes they're really nice. You don't even have to take out, you just rinse the top. But sometimes the store, whoever is in charge of produce is not very knowledgeable. So it's packed tightly. All you need to do is usually a real quick rinse. So I'm just gonna go down the center, get the core, and when I get it open, you see there's that core there, the triangle of the core. So I'm going to flip it and see where that is and just kind of go through that again. So I've got a wedge. So I did quarters. Now you can see that. Now all I have to do is cut at a triangle, and I'm not going to do it this way, but I want you to know I'm just going to cut like that. So I can just take it. And now I've got the core off. So now I can just start chopping like this. I find cabbage like this size will give me 8 to 10 cups of chopped for the full thing. Okay, so just know, usually I only need about half. I only usually need 2 to 4 cups for any recipes I'm doing, but just know. Now, storing cabbage whole, you want to put a damp paper towel around the root there, and then put it lightly in a plastic bag. Now, once you cut into it, it does go quicker. So you can put a damp paper towel over this, but you have exposed it. Put it in a plastic bag. You know, I reuse my plastic bags. You wouldn't believe. I just put them back in. I wash them, put them on. I have a bottle dryer that it's a wooden bottle dryer that I all the time have things drying on. So, but that's the best way to keep this. So, okay. So I've already, oh, shoot. Oh, I told you the wrong way to do the cabbage for this. Shoot. Okay. So I wanted to show you a way to do strips. Okay, that is chopping normal. Okay, let's pretend this is a whole one. Sorry. Okay, so the whole one. Okay, so we'd have another half there. Sorry about this. So I just realized, I'm like, I did just strips. So then we take off. I just took off like 3/4 of the top. So I should have another half here. And then I want to smash it down. That's why I take it off, because then I can smash it.
Oh, there's your primer.
Okay, thank you. So now I can get long strips. It's just nice for looks instead of having the little shredded. You'll see that in a second. It's nice to have the long pieces. Okay, so if you want the long, you have to chop the head off. Okay, if you want shredding, which a lot of recipes do, then you do the wedges, and we'll go over that. Sorry about that. I wasn't thinking. I was like, okay, I've got a cauliflower cabbage. I'm gonna just wedge it. Okay, so let's get the broccoli here in for reheating here. Spring it. And okay, so next I've got the green, dark green. I chose the darkest green I could see. Sometimes if they have the red on them, I will get the purple ends. So, but get the darkest green, even if it's more expensive. And do not have me ever see you get iceberg lettuce, okay? Sorry, but it's just got very little benefit. I'm sure it has some, but very little. So we want the darkest green. I already rinsed this off. You want to keep any of your lettuce bunches when they're bunched like this with their stem moist. You want to make sure this is pretty dry here, okay? Because it's going to make it moist and rot. If this is like, if I wash this and put this back in the baggie, it's going to, in a couple days, going to start showing little spots. So the lettuce needs to be kept kind of dry, but down here is where the moisture, you want to feed the plant, so to speak. So a lot of times what I'll do is just take off a couple leaves here and then chop them in strips. So I'll put them together, stack them, and then I just want to go like this. So I'll just go down down, down, down. So I'm trying to get stripped somewhat. And then I usually stop here. It's lighter green, so I toss that out. So I want to use this. And a lot of people will be really picky about the ends. They're like, it's got a teeny little brown spot. I'm not using that. The brown spot is telling you that it is like creating antioxidants at that spot. So I'm not saying eat everything, but don't be worried about a little bit of brown here and there or a little hole in it. It's the plant's doing its thing there. So that's good stuff. Okay, so onion. So we talked about this last week. So which side am I going to chop off first? The hairy side or the root here, or the stem? Stem. I cut the stem off, and then I'm going to set it down flat because now I've got stability. Go through that, and then I'm going to peel this back. You can do this any kind of onion here. Now, if you've got the red onion, do be very careful about peeling back because you want to use as much red as possible. So then I'm going to do the horizontal cut. Dangerous, but careful. You can wiggle it a little bit. Don't go through the root because we are using that to hold it together. So it's functional. So then I'm going to, since I'm chopping it, I could do halves there if I wanted to. But because of the size, I'm going to go down, just follow a little bit from the root back. And then here we go. We've got our pieces. So that's about as even as you're going to get with a round thing to start with. And then you should minimize your contact with at the root there is where the juice is that makes you cry. So the sulfur. So, but the sulfur is great for avocado. We like that. So, okay, so we've got that. Then I'm going to use, instead of for the red, I'm going to use roasted red bell pepper. You can have this on hand. Okay, it's just the ingredient list is just peppers, water, sea salt, citric acid. Okay. So this is a very easy way to add vegetable to anything. So they come halves, strips, different ways. I just chopped this up some because it was kind of halves of roasted pepper. Now, if you're going to eat this, like if you're making it in the morning or meat at lunchtime, you'll have to see how it goes, but you might want to use a fresh red pepper because there's moisture in this. So you have to see how it goes. So, just in case if you're not eating it immediately. And then for our carrot, we're just going to use shredded because that's going to be easiest. So let's go ahead and put this together. I've got the burrito size tortilla. Now, this is more what I call processed, and I'm going to give you some more options in a second. But, this is a very standard thing in many homes. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and use that. We're going to use hummus. From the grocery store just to save us some time. It is better to make it, but some of us don't have the time to make it. It's going to be different sourcing of olive oil. So it's not going to be the super anti-inflammatory olive oil because the cost factor, they're not going to use it in there. It's going to be higher in salt. So, and if you ever have a chance to go to a Greek restaurant and have hummus, you must order. It is to die for. They know how to make hummus. It's like completely different than this, but okay, so about a quarter cup on there, and then we're going to I'm just going to add, this is not a magical dressing, but it's one that everybody loves, and so we're just going to put a little bit to give it that flavor to it. So we're going to have a lot of texture with our veggies, so I just need a little bit to spread over there, about 2 tablespoons. Ken's sweet Vidalia onion. Just get Target has a light. When you go to light, you're always like, it's like, the saturated fat might be like 0.5 gram less, but the sugar goes up or, so just get this and just to use a little bit. I'm just like, don't get fanatical. It's hard to find a salad dressing on the shelves that is totally, because they're sourcing their own ingredients and I'm like, So, okay. So that's the base of it. Now we're going to start with our beautiful ingredients. I'm going to start with a long, and I'm going to build it right here. I'm not going to do like half like that. I'm going to kind of build it here. So let me put a little more of that, make sure we got some down here. And then I'm going to take my strips of the lettuce there, and then I'm going to do some of the orange, and then some red. And again, like I said, if you can get 2 or 3 colors, you're doing great. Okay. So don't think, oh, I don't have all my 5 colors. So a little onion, you could do scallion. Okay. So there we go. So I'm just going to take it from here. Now you see, I could have left actually more like a 1/2 inch there. You'll see, because when we roll this, it's going to squish it out. So it's just naturally going to squish out like that. So there we go. The ends I just eat. So, and then we just cut it. It's nice to serve for any football game kind of parties. So you see there, we don't see the red. Here's the one with the red. We see the red there. So you see how pretty that is? So wait till you taste it too. Super great to taste. So I want to finish up with some other ideas for wraps real quick before we sign off. I want to make sure I'm finishing pretty close to top of the hour. So a couple things that I did here. So I'm going to give you some other ideas because the flour tortilla is definitely medium processed. Maybe not quite ultra. In some definitions, it might even be called ultra processed, okay? And it carries, each one carries, you ready for this? 35 grams of carb and 210 calories. Now, and I'm not counting calories, but I want you to know that's going to contribute a lot of your kind of what you're eating. It's going to contribute. It's not what I call a carrier, okay? Insignificant. That's significant, okay? So if you want something that's a little less, okay, this is still processed, okay? I'm not fooling you here, but this one has like 60 calories, 12 grams of carbs. So we're getting better. Dietary fiber, 7 grams, but don't fool yourself. This is not intact grains. Okay, they did that stripping and then added back kind of trick that manufacturers like to do. So it's still processed. Look at the ingredient list there, xanthan gum and all kinds of stuff in there. It's not, I don't want to freak you out, but I'm just saying you got to consider this as a more processed thing. But if you want to transition from this to this, awesome. Okay, so this is only at Hy-Vee, and most of the people that work in Hy-Vee don't even know they have it. So you're going to have to search for it. So it's called Tomorrow's. It could be in the produce section. It could be in the health food section. So they switch it around. So other super inexpensive options. Seaweed. Okay. Seaweed is very hip, guys. I'm telling you. So my daughter, she watches TikTok like crazy. She's 14 and she has ordered, we have ordered, there's such a thing as seaweed squares that you fold, or triangles that you fold and put rice in. And we have gotten, no joke, salmon. Like it looks like a pimento jar, but it's salmon bits. So it's amazing. And it's salmon. It's got a little salt, but otherwise it's just salmon. I'm like, cool. So she just did this about 2 weeks ago because she saw it in a TikTok. So I was like, okay, we'll order those seaweed folding things. So, but she loves seaweed. She actually, we have the snack packs and she will eat 1 pack in her lunch. So she hesitates sometimes because she's like, everybody's gonna make fun of me. I'm like, go ahead and educate them. So, but she loves them. So, you know, just be open-minded. So I have seaweed here if you guys want to taste it. But seaweed can't carry quite as much as a burrito can. So I'm going to do a couple things to show you some tricks here. So I'm just going to just do like a little less, more like 2 tablespoons rather than a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to put it on just half of it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do because it can't carry as much of the hummus, but you want the hummus there for the flavoring and for the protein, the beans. So I'm also going to kind of go with the Asian theme. I've got brown rice that I added some turmeric and black pepper. Now this doesn't taste great. I'm telling you, it doesn't taste bad, but the turmeric we'll talk about the last class is magical. So I just added it because it's magical and it's not going to be an off flavor. So I'm just going to put that there. Oh, I should have put a little bit of the flavoring. Sorry. I wanted to put a little bit of this. I'm going to put that on top then. Just a little bit there and spread that around. So mix that in. So we just added the rice as a nice little kind of texture there and kind of theme with the Asian. And I'm just going to add less, but I'm going to go this direction. You'll see why in a second. I'm going to go this direction with it and just a little less of everything because it can't hold quite as much. Plus, this is pretty much one serving. Okay, so you don't need to like, you'll see, we don't need to like cut it up and serve it to multiple people. So I'm just going to do a little bit of each one there. And then what I'm going to do is, there it is. So I'm going to take this over, think fish and chips in England. So I'm going to do the newspaper kind of roll there. And then I'm going to take, this is just water there. Hold it like you're doing a Band-Aid, stopping the bleeding. Just hold, press, and voila, okay? Then you eat this, okay? So you can, I'll show you what it looks like. There it is, okay? So seaweed in there. So the last one that I want to show you, I know we're at top of the hour, think about your action step, guys, is a spring roll wrap. And actually, these are super inexpensive. It looks like to me, like a communion wafer. It's kind of like that, but big. So you can't fold with this, but what you can do is run it underwater, both sides, and it will start to be able to. Now, it's not going to hold the hummus. It's not going to hold the even the dressing. So what you do here is we just put veggies in it. You could put tofu when we get to that, but I don't want to freak you out. You could put mini shrimp, is really good in here. You just can't put big pieces of like things because it's just really delicate. So and usually I'll chop up the cabbage into small pieces because then you put that in, then I can fold it like this because you can see, you give it about a minute and you can use it. Now, well, we got to tuck in that side. Now what you do is you will dip it into a sauce. So you could like mix the hummus with a little bit of or just hummus, or use a little bit with this. This is like often a spring roll. You're going to do like a soy sauce with a garlic and maybe some lemon or something in there and rice vinegar. So there's different, if you're going in theme of kind of maybe a Korean restaurant or something like that. But just so you know that there's ways of having carriers because, okay, ingredient list, rice flour, tapioca flour, water, salt. So this is refined, but it's only 30 calories for one wrapper. Okay, so it's more of a carrier. So it's carrying the veggies, and then you have to add with dipping the seaweed is roasted seaweed. That's it. It has 0 fat, 0 saturated fat, 15 milligrams of sodium, carb 1, dietary fiber 1, 10 calories. That is definitely just a carrier. And it has actually, it's got a lot of iodine, it's got the fiber. So, so just open-minded. So it is a little more delicate. So there you go. So now you have rainbow wraps. Super easy to have these ingredients. You could use spinach instead of the dark lettuce, carrots, easy to have on hand, onion, easy to have, cabbage. You just, again, if you have 3 things, you're doing great. And then roll that up and yum. So thank you. Any questions? I see something from the audience there. Let's see, action steps. Go ahead and share action steps if you've got that checked off and ready. How does avocado oil compare to avocado? Great question. Okay, they're very similar. The problem with avocado is I want to make sure it's cold pressed or virgin, or it's mechanically pressed and not chemically pressed, because most of the oils sitting on the shelves are deodorized and chemically processed because manufacturers want to make them bland because they have more uses and they stay longer. But if you knew the original forms of these oils, what they were, they're basically leftover stuff that they've decided, we can do this by chemically processing and make it into something we can sell. So, so extra virgin olive oil is mechanically, like in a way, physically pressed the olive out. So we still keep all the great stuff of olive. But if you could guarantee me the avocado was squeezed, pressed, then it would be great. So it's usually more expensive. So in my budget, I don't do avocado oil, but if I had an unlimited budget, I would have it sitting there next to the extra virgin olive oil. Yes. So hope that helps. And also roasting, I didn't really talk about it. Roasting is fine, especially when you have extra virgin olive oil. You might read stuff about smoke points. Yes, the smoke point, but the smoke point doesn't mean you have carcinogen kind of stuff. It just means smoke point. And because this has so many antioxidants in it, they find it's not a factor. So don't worry about that you're getting higher heat and that, oh, I should use this one because this has a higher smoke point. I've researched that inside now. Roasting multiple veggies at one time looks yummy. Yes, definitely do. Roasting is a great way to go. If I'm going to have roasted veggies at lunch that I did on Sunday. I actually make a bunch that I have every single day. I just do it in different things. So roasting for many people is a great way of boosting up your veggie content. It just takes a little time. There are different times, ideally, for roasting different veggies because of their water content. They have to go through and kind of evaporate the water and go through this caramelization and aromatic. So if you want to do things perfectly, you want to roast individually. But again, if you're just doing a bowl and you're throwing in tofu and a sauce and brown rice or quinoa, mixing it all together, then it's going to be fine to roast a bunch. But technically, those pictures on Pinterest that you see with beautifully roasted veggies, they did them individually and then lined them up. Okay, so it doesn't work to just take a big pan and throw a lot of veggies and they turn out perfectly. Okay, because there are different times that they have to do. So awesome, guys. Questions, actions, sharing. Do you see the action sheet everybody have ready to go on their action sheet? So pull that out, check off 1, 2, maybe not 4 or 5. So awesome.